Welcome back. As we earlier said, we're going to be embarking over the 11th summit of the 8th Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development that took place in Egypt. And we're very delighted to be having with us live over the phone Dr. Amr Hamed. He's a professor of economy. Good morning, Dr. Hamed.
Good morning.
How are you doing, sir?
Thank you. Excellent.
Right. We would like first to give a definition of the D8 organization to our viewers.
The D8, or Developing Aid, is an economic development organization consisting of 8 emerging economies, namely Egypt, of course, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Iran, Malaysia, Nigeria, Pakistan, and Turkey. Its primary aim is to promote economic cooperation, improve the member states' positions in the global economy, and foster sustainable development through trade, investment, and innovation.
Right. So, of course, the summit is over. So asking about the agenda is going to be a little bit late. So talking about this summit, this is the 11th edition. If you'd like to talk about this year instead of talking about the agenda.
Yeah, it's okay. We can summarize the agenda of this year. It was focused on fostering trade, enhancing economic integration, investing in technology, and prioritizing sustainable development, of course. The key themes included digital transformation, youth empowerment, which is very important for all the member states, and strengthening small and medium enterprises, the SMEs, as drivers of economic growth. However, if you want to speak about the regional and global challenges...
No, we're going to jump into the regional and global challenges later on. But let's talk about this year's edition of the summit, which is, well, you were kindly reflecting about the agenda, focusing on some important items for this year.
Okay, from an Egypt government standpoint, we emphasized strengthening the D8 trade to execute the current $100 billion trade between relations between the countries, and accelerating technological advancements and digital economies, addressing, of course, food and energy security, and supporting global sustainable development goals, what we call the SDGs, with a focus on poverty eradication and social equity. In this respect, the summit of this year concluded with commitments to about 5 major points. Number 1, enhancing economic integration and boost intra-D8 trade. And number 2, promote sustainable agricultural practices to ensure food security, of course. 3, invest in renewable energy and digital infrastructure. And the final point, which is also very important, is to strengthen the SMEs and youth entrepreneurship as engines of economic growth.
Right. Let's now delve into the regional and global challenges that face the G8. There are, of course, with the advent of crisis worldwide and the events that go through and surprises that evoke that sometimes we do not expect. So what type of challenges, regional challenges and problems that might face the advent of D8 from your own point of view?
Okay, if you want here, we can, there are actually, the D8 countries are facing multiple challenges, but let's speak about the major 5 challenges. Number 1, the economic challenges, which is basically inflation, debt burdens, and trade imbalances, which hinder sustainable development. Another challenge is, of course, what we call the environmental challenge because of the climate change impact on agriculture, energy, and infrastructure. Another challenge is the geopolitical challenge because of the global tensions and protectionism usually they disrupt trade and cooperation. And another important challenge, of course, is the social challenge, because when I say social challenge, I want to highlight youth unemployment, poverty, and inequalities, which no doubt exacerbate development gaps.
Right. Of course, one of the main focuses of this summit is the SMEs, or the small and medium enterprises, and small and medium micro businesses, which could be the base for any economic boom. And we have seen many, examples for countries that build its empire of economy on small and medium enterprises or SMEs. So the investment in youth when it comes to supporting the small and medium enterprises, because youth would usually build their futures on small and medium enterprises. So in that respect, how do you think this summit would provide some suggestions, would provide some resolutions that would be able to boost or enforce the small and medium enterprises in countries?
Well, out of the summit, there was some very important initiatives directed towards addressing those two important points, which is the youth and SMEs. So these initiatives, they were launched during the summit, and they aim to achieve sustainable growth in member states through several strategies directly aligned with the principles of sustainable development. To start with, one of the major initiatives has to do with empowering youth and entrepreneurship through establishing youth entrepreneurship platforms which provide education, mentorship, and resources to young innovators, and enabling them to launch businesses that align with sustainable practices. This, of course, helps to reduce youth unemployment and fosters economic inclusion, which is very key for the member states. And under the same title, we can also, throughout one of the initiatives under the same title, is promoting digital skills and innovation among the youth, which will ensure their participation in the growing digital economy, and this can no doubt lead to more efficient and eco-friendly industries. As far as the SMEs are concerned, the initiative here as emerging from, as launched by the summit, was to strengthen the SMEs through the support for small and medium enterprises, because this will stimulate local economies by creating jobs and encouraging sustainable production methods. And also an important point is access to funding and partnerships, which should allow SMEs to innovate in green technologies, food security, and renewable energy sectors.
Right. Of course, President Abdel Fattah Sisi have given a very impressive speech, and he focused on many, many vital points that would come to the best interest of many countries. Most of the major participants of the summit probably were caring about the focuses that President Abdel Fattah Sisi have tackled in his speech. So what were the main important topics that were addressed by the Egyptian president in the G8 summit?
The major points were mainly how to boost intra-G8 trade, and then He also spoke about technological advancement and digital economies and focus on food and energy security. And of course, we just also spoke about the focus on global sustainable development goals with a focus more on poverty eradication. Actually, we can tie these points emphasized from the Egyptian side to the final recommendations and summary of the summit itself, which included, it's related to what we focus, enhance economic integration and boost intra-trade D8 trade, promote sustainable agricultural practices to ensure food security. Number three, invest in renewable energy and digital infrastructure. And last, strengthen SMEs.
Yeah, but we were gonna touch on the final recommendations later on the next question. We need to talk about the main focuses by President Abdel Fattah Sisi during that summit. He talked about poverty. He talked about economic development. He talked about digitalization. How can all these elements help in overcoming all the crises the world is taking? How can this help in boosting economy? How can this help all these topics or all these focuses or elements help in changing the map, the economic map of a country into a better one?
We have already addressed two important points. Maybe we can address some more points as well. The 2 points that I have already addressed is the empowerment of the youth and strengthening the SMEs. But we can add to this also the promotion of green energy, renewable energy. As you know, there is a lot of collaborations among the D8 members which aim to reduce reliance on fossil fuels and cutting emissions and fostering energy security. These initiatives contribute to climate resilience while generating economic benefits through job creation in the green energy sector. Another key point in this respect is the boosting of intra-D8 trade by trade facilitation programs which focus on reducing barriers and improving logistics, making it easier, of course, for member states to exchange sustainable goods and services. This strengthens, of course, regional economic integration while prioritizing environmental friendly trade practices. Another point also of key importance is sustainable agriculture. Initiatives here that promote modern agricultural techniques and technologies which support food security and sustainability. For instance, climate smart agricultural practices. This will help member states combat environmental challenges while boosting productivity. And I cannot leave this point about agriculture without highlighting the importance of agro-industries, because agriculture or agro-industry is, of course, the backbone.
One main pillar, of course.
Yeah, it's also the backbone for industrialization. So both agriculture and agro-industry with and industrialization are no doubt the backbone for any economic development. Let's add to this, if you want, another important point, which is technology and digital transformation. Investments in digital infrastructure help to streamline industries, reduce waste, and enhance the efficiency of services, contributing to long-term sustainable economic growth.
Of course, Dr. Amr, adding to what the very important items that you just mentioned right now, and thanks to you, that Egypt is among or on top of the countries that could be a good nominee for to be the best countries for agro-industrialization because of its rich resources. And moving on to the final recommendations and summary of the summit. How do you assess it?
Well, in general, the final recommendation of the summit, of all these measures, if you want, collectively will support the D8 countries in achieving sustainable development goals, what we call the SDGs, by fostering economic growth, reducing poverty, protecting the environment, and promoting social equity. And the integration of these initiatives ensure that economic progress is not only inclusive but also environmentally and socially responsible, with a very important focus on the development of the youth and enhancing the relationship between among the youth of all the member countries together.
Of course, Dr. Amr, all those recommendations seem to be totally ideal and could be an excellent way to start a new future for the participants and for developing countries and all that. But at the same time, there are lots of challenges. So how do you think those recommendations could be executed?
Let me just here focus on the challenges for Egypt as a member of the D8 organization. And as you know, Egypt is already actually a member of numerous regional and international economic organizations, not only the D8, but a lot of other ones. We can cite a lot of them. It's the participation of Egypt, it highlights its strategic economic position, especially given Egypt's control of the Suez Canal and its role in connecting Africa, Asia, and Europe. What is also important is that through the membership in these organizations, Egypt seeks to enhance trade, attract investment, and promote sustainable economic development domestically and regionally. So if you want to take this point and relate it to the challenges, of course, we can speak about not only the challenges facing Egypt, but the challenges facing all the D8 members together. And we have already mentioned some of them. In my opinion, the two major challenges are the economic challenges, and then comes next the geopolitical challenge, which we all know what is happening around us, either in the Middle East, like what's happening in Gaza, Palestine, with the role of Israel as playing a very, I would say, negative role in this area, and then what's happening in Syria, and then the war that is still taking place in between Ukraine and Russia. And all these together, they represent a geopolitical challenge, mainly, by the way, for Egypt vis-à-vis the other member states. But from my perspective, those challenges, they represent for Egypt an excellent opportunity for growth and development, because in the middle of all this turmoil, of all these problems, if I may call them, here and there around us in the Middle East, Egypt is still the only country that is really stable and resilient, with a very solid and united population. So if we really invest and exploit those strengths, I think these challenges represent an excellent opportunity for Egypt today, to achieve growth and development.
Right. On this note, of course, Dr. Amr Hamed, you're a professor of economy. We'd like to thank you, sir, talking to The Breakfast Show. You have a good day. We're going to go to a short break, and we'll come to continue The Breakfast Show, so stay with us.